So I just read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, which is a crazy popular book, but for some reason I've never read it until just now. So I'm going to go through my quick notes that I made when I was reading it, and I'm going to go over a basic summary. So number 1, first habit is to be proactive. Now, what this means is you have to decide how you react to things. You're not going to react to things as they happen. You're going to react before. So you decide how you're going to react to things in your life. For example, if you are hot, you're not going to say, oh, this room is so hot. You're going to take responsibility and you're going to tell yourself that you're not hot and that it's actually a great temperature for you. That wasn't his exact example, but that's an interesting way to think about it. More what he was saying is, let's say your spouse says something to you and you don't like it. It makes you feel a certain way. He's basically saying you choose how you react to things, so don't let those external factors influence you because that's not you. You can decide beforehand how you're going to react to things as they come up. Number 2, begin with the end in mind. So the means are better than the end because the means are the embodiment of that end. Now, that's sort of a paraphrase of someone else's quote, not what was in the book, but that's basically, again, what he was talking about. So you need to decide where you're going, and in doing so, then you can decide on your daily actions. And really, your daily actions are so much more important than the end, but you have to know where that end is in order to get there. Number 3, put first things first. So he tells the story about the Golden Goose. And this whole thing's basically about maintaining things that are working out. So this guy has this golden goose. It's laying a golden egg every day, and he sells it every day. He's making tons of money, and then he gets impatient. He's like, well, this goose has all these eggs in it. Let me just, chop its head off, reach inside, and pull out all the eggs. And, of course, that doesn't work, and he loses everything. And then he gives another example where it's sort of a more modern example that you could probably relate to more, is where you have a machine, and that machine's making you money, you don't repair it, and it starts breaking down. He says that this happens a lot of times with a manager. So a manager will just completely milk the system and squeeze all of the profits out without putting in any maintenance. So then he gets promoted because profits are up so much. The new guy comes in, and then everything starts to fall apart on him because there was no maintenance during the last guy's term. And so the new guy looks bad, but really he's doing the right thing. The other guy was doing the wrong thing. So you could do that, I guess, if you wanted to get promoted and make yourself look better. But that's not really a good thing to do overall, especially if it's your company or if you're going to be in the position long term, or if you're just a good person, because that's not really the right thing to do. Number 4, think win-win. And this was basically 1 + 1 = 3. So good guys finish last, right? But you also don't want to be a bad person. You don't want the other people to get a bad deal, the other people who are negotiating with you. You basically always want everyone to win, and that's much harder than making one person win. And a lot of times he sees people who say they want win-win, and then they go too soft, and they just get destroyed, and they get the bad end of the deal. So he's called that the hardest skill in negotiating, is finding the win-win. And I really related that to point number 6, which was more the 1 + 1 = 3, where basically by creating this win-win, everyone benefits even more. So an example that I've had is I was opening a store, right? So I wanted to make sure that my store was open as soon as possible and that, City Hall accepted it and I wasn't just denied or delayed over and over. And my landlord actually had some sway in City Hall. So instead of, beating him down on the price, I was actually willing to pay more money, so he was benefiting, and then he was able to, talk to the inspectors and get better appointments and get everything pushed through quicker. And so in that way, both of us benefited. It was a clear win-win, synergize with the win-win. Now I skipped over point number 5, which was seek first to understand, then to be understood. So the problem is, a lot of times people don't understand where another person is coming from, and they sort of don't even care. They just steamroll over everything. Like a lot of times online you'll talk to people, or you'll see conversations where two people are clearly trying to convince each other of something, but clearly aren't experiencing what the other person is, or trying to consider it from their viewpoint. They're just oh, this is what I think, and I'm going to change his mind. It's very rare to see a conversation where it's okay, I want to see your point of view and then compare it to mine. Nobody does that. They just have what they want the other person to believe and try to push that onto them. Now, my absolute favorite is point number 7, which is sharpen the saw, which that comes from this guy is chopping down a tree all day long. His neighbor sees him, and he's like, wow, that's a dull axe, and he has a sharpener right there. Why don't you just stop doing that, sharpen your saw, go back to doing that, it'll be a whole lot easier. And the guy says, well, yeah, but that'll take time. I need to get this tree chopped down. So that's basically what lean manufacturing is. And it's very hard to actually put into practice, even though it's such a simple idea. And I've actually made a new YouTube channel, which I'll link in the description. And basically on that channel is every single day we post videos of this business and what we're improving. Most videos will be around 30 seconds. It'll be we just record something real quick on the iPhone, edit it right away, and post it to our group chat. And then at the end of the day, that gets posted onto YouTube. So basically it's before, the process looked like this. And then after, now the process looks like this. And this is what we improved, and this is what waste we eliminated. And that's basically what number 7 was about. And so, the last quote that I want to mention, not really a quote, but a concept, is that he said, doing which is important, that which is important, but not urgent, is what makes you successful. He didn't say it that way, but that was the basic concept. So, basically, you want to do what's not urgent at all, but what is important. And it's oftentimes not the same thing. Many times you'll have something that's urgent and important. You can do that, but what really makes the difference is doing the unurgent, important things, because those are the things that you can do reliably, consistently, every single day, over and over, and that makes the biggest difference. So pretty much everyone in their life knows what they can do in business or in their personal life over and over and over. That's not urgent, but very important. And he gives one example of going to the gym. A lot of people know that that's very important, but the problem is it's very much not urgent. You could do it at any time, but what really matters is you doing it at some point. And basically when things aren't urgent, people don't do them. But when they're urgent, people do them. If your phone is ringing, it's urgent, but it's probably not important. And people would rather pick up their phone, do the urgent but unimportant thing, than go to the gym and do the important but not urgent thing. So those were the 7 points and my favorite concept from the book. I hope you check out the other channel below that I mentioned. It's also very similar to FastCap, youtube.com/FastCapTV. Very similar example of what lean is.